Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, Leo sent me Malice, also known as Malice, Nu Gui, and this 2022 film was directed by Gustavo Diaz and Ches Fenwick, and stars Yumi Kohuma, Homing Chen, and Martina Chen, just to name a few. The story of this film is that there's this Chinese lady ghost, and apparently this is called like a Nu Gui, and they are kind of vengeful spirits, so they want to like take over bodies or kind of play with men and hopefully even kill men sometimes. And so it's about this Chinese lady ghost, and as she goes around kind of tormenting these few people in Australia. What will happen though? Well, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. So what works with this one? Well, ultimately, I thought it was just kind of like a fun, cute little ghost story. This woman is, of course, just a vengeful spirit, so she's out there trying to get revenge on men in general. So just how she goes about it is pretty fun. There does have a little bit of a rocky start at the beginning with this date that doesn't go as planned. And of course, you know, with a vengeful spirit, right, nothing's going to go as planned. And so that was, I don't know, interesting once you get into it to see her torment and possess and all this other stuff that goes into it. So how it goes down in the land down under, ultimately, is a cute little story. Also, the pacing of this one is pretty good. It is only like a 45-minute, short movie, and so they have to be well paced to put everything in, just 45 minutes. And it certainly does work that way. It means you're never really bored. You never really have a slow moment, except for maybe that first date, but it is what it is. And so certainly just going along with it for 45 minutes, yeah, it's a little enjoyable, cute little story that way. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, ultimately, it has like this kind of student film vibe to it, where all the actors are pretty young, which is probably what adds to it. But then there's just some things where you would imagine like a film student to do. Like the framing is not necessarily the best. Like sometimes people's faces are like half cut off. Then there's this like red filter that makes things very difficult to see sometimes, to the point where like I don't even know what I'm looking at. And that certainly is in there as well. So it does create these issues with the audience, just their viewing experience. But as a low budget film, it's not really a problem. It's perfectly fine to watch. It is, like I said, a little cute little ghost story. It's just that sometimes it is hard to watch sometimes. Nothing with the story or anything like that. It's just this red filter. Like, I don't know why. It's so hard to see. And so, yeah, that is also in there. Another thing with this one is that the ghost speaks quite a bit of Mandarin. And that is an issue if you don't have the subtitles on. I was actually just watching it without subtitles to start off with. And so after a while, like I turned them on because I wanted to find out what she was saying. And it turns out like it's all her motivation and why she's doing this and what she wants these people to do. So make sure you do turn those on. So it's one of those things where you would never think about it until, it gets to be a problem. So once it does, I turned it on. I would recommend turning it on from the beginning that way. And so it adds that authenticity to the ghost, I guess being, a Chinese ghost, but it just, I don't know, distracts from the audience that way, having to turn on these extra things. It's just an extra button or extra step for enjoyment. So yeah, that's also in there. As for a recommendation, well, if you like ghost stories, this is an easy one to press play on. It is only 45 minutes, which even makes it even more easy, I think. And so if that sounds like you, then yeah, totally press play on this one. I think you can find it on Tubi. As for my rating, well, I'll give it the score of 3. That's the score for meh. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.